Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm just on my property down by the mill today. Just a bit warmer than it has been the past few days, so I thought I'd come down here and try again at doing this tag that I tried to do. I think it must have been last week or the week before. It just wouldn't load. Yeah, so I'm going to do the book Palate Tag by Fraser Simon. Oh, I don't know if you can hear the running water, but everyone keeps saying that my channel is like unintentional SMR, so I thought I would try to up the game today. So yeah, this is going to be the book Palate Tag by Fraser Simon. First prompt is sweet. What is a book that made you excited to read more by that author? Bonus point of it also somehow exemplifies the genre you most like to read. It's probably an easy one. Well, I probably have two answers for this. Christopher Brookmyre. When I first read a Christopher Brookmyre book, I was so excited to read other stuff from him. He's a Scottish crime writer, and he started writing in the 90s. I came to him when I was first moved away from home in about 2003, 2004, I think. Maybe a little bit later. He used to see all his books in Foxhole thing, which just had kind of cheap multimedia, so I kind of took a gamble on it. I think it might have even been the first one I might have read was Boiling a Frog, just called Boiling a Frog, and had lyric colours, and that really got me in. That just got me an insatiable appetite to read all of his books. I think apart from two, I have read all of his books, and then the other one was like Raymond Chandler. As soon as I read Raymond Chandler, I just pretty much devoured all of his books that he wrote, and some of his short fiction. I still have a bit of his short stories to go, but yeah, I definitely read all of his books, and I got them all in these lovely reproductions of the original Hamish Hamilton. Sadly, don't have those books anymore, but yeah, I read them all in these great copies. And I go back to Raymond Chandler a lot, and definitely cemented my love for hard-boiled noir crime fiction, especially from the 1930s to the 50s, written in America. Sour, what book did you initially dislike, but after a reread you reversed your opinion on? Or what is a book you loved at one time, but after rereading it I found it lacking in some way? Bonus point, if the book is in a genre you similarly reverse your decision on. I don't think I've reversed my position on the genre at all, but there's two books that I've kind of reevaluated a little bit. First one was John Fante's Ask the Dust. I read that recently. I first read it in my mid-20s, and it's very much a book you probably enjoy when you're a male in your mid-20s. It's spoken on lots of different levels. I think I did kind of dislike Arturo Bandini, which is kind of the John Fante stand-in. He's very similar to Charles Bukowski. He's a very huge influence on Charles Bukowski. I think I did kind of find him annoying, but I did have a lot more tolerance for it in my 20s, and then I read it a couple of years ago, or maybe just a year ago, and yeah, I really had I really didn't like it as much. I kind of did see why I liked it in my 20s, but now that I'm in my mid to late 30s, it was definitely, I'd see how much I'd grown as a person, and yeah, the character really did very much annoy me, especially how he treated other people. And then the other one that I liked more is Lucky Jim by Kingsley Amis. I think when I first read it, it's because it was just, it's considered like one of the best comic novels ever written in the UK. I think it's really, whenever people mention comic novels, Lucky Jim comes up. But I really was disappointed, but on further reflection, bit of distance from the book, it was a little bit better than I thought. I still wouldn't like it immensely, but there are some really funny set pieces, mainly towards the front. It still has its problems, especially with kind of treatment of women and stuff like that, but it's better than, like, I was really down on it when I first, but I think I have more fun memories than not of it now. Bissa, what is a book that you feel is underrated, attacked unjustly by popular or mainstream opinion, or is simply misunderstood in some way? Bonus point if it is not a book anyone else has mentioned already that you know of. So I have pretty much a doozy for this one. I don't know if you remember when the Aardman, the animation studio, a few years back, they did it's quite a few years back now because I watched it when I was still living in Dundee, so it's probably about 10 years ago now. They did a film called Pirates, with an adventure with scientists, and it's actually based on a book by Ian Defoe called with the same name, and he did a whole series of them. So he did like pirates in an adventure with romantics, and there was one that was communists, and there was one that was there was a Moby Dick one. I can't remember what one was called. That one was really funny too. There was a Napoleon one, and I think that's most of them. So there was so many reviews of the Aardman movie that would say, oh, it's based on a children's book. And I actually, as soon as I found out that Aardman was making this movie, I actually read the books. I think it was after they announced that they were making it. I read the first one, and it's not a kid's book at all. Its humor is so adult. I think in the first page on the first book that this two pirates get completely eviscerated. It's a little bit graphic about it. And then there's this bunch of great running jokes about how the captain keeps the captain's a complete idiot. He refers to himself as having a stentorian nose. And there's just so many great jokes, and there's so many little in-jokes about, I think the scientist one is Darwin. There's so many Darwin jokes, and then the Napoleon one is hilarious. There's just like so many great jokes about Napoleon, just like classic kind of silly jokes about it. But yeah, there's so many newspaper articles, professional journalists saying that it was a kid's book, and they're not kids books at all. But they are fantastically humorous, and sadly very, very hard to get hold of. I gave away all my copies, and a couple of them I read from the library as well. So I'm really wanting to reread them, but it's actually proving pretty hard to get copies of them. Salty, what is a book that changed how you thought about or related to other people, or made you realize something about yourself you were not aware of previously? Bonus points if you choose multiple books from whatever milestone in your life that feel important to you. I don't really know if I've had any major breakthroughs through books. I probably felt a little bit more that kind of thing with movies, especially like documentary movies and stuff. I probably just don't read enough, and I don't read enough of the right things. So I think I might have to just pass on this one. It's a good question though, but I just think a lot of my reading is pretty for fun, and it doesn't tend to change my mind too much. I have a lot of other outlets for that, so nothing really comes to mind. Probably is something that I read in the late teens or something, but can't really think of something too much. Optional prompts for the connoisseur. Treat the following prompts as if they were different foods. Palates vary depending on what you're consuming, i.e. choose the you like. So I'm just going to pick and choose. Which ones did I originally do? Oh yeah, eclectic palate, one of the top 3 plus genres you typically read or gravitate towards. So definitely crime fiction, it's very evident on my channel. I am reading biography right now, and it really made me realize how much I love biography. So definitely like biography. And then probably gravitate towards kind of history, sociology, political stuff too. If I'm reading non-fiction. I'll read the occasional literary fiction book. I'll read like a very commercial fiction book as well. Sometimes read a sci-fi. But yeah, like when I'm buying books, I probably gravitate more towards the biography and the socio-political stuff. Maturing palate. What is the genre you've read little or none of but would like to sample more? What book, if any, prompted this? Not so much book, but booktubers. I really would like to read more horror. Just like that, I follow a bunch of great horror booktubers, and they're such lovely people, and a great community that they've established themselves in this little corner of booktube, and they're so passionate about the horror books too that it's really infectious. So yeah, I think I would like to read more horror. I'm a huge horror film fan, so it's kind of weird that I don't read much horror. Fiction, I've read a couple. I've read like Dracula and Frankenstein and Psycho by Robert Bloch. But other than that, I can't really think of too much. So yeah, I think that's the tag, and that's 10 minutes, so hopefully that's going to be uploaded pretty easy. So yeah, see you all again, and hope this was a lovely ASMR.